Welcome to Dice and Mind, a podcast hosted by Brad Brown and Jason Kaufman to explore the intersection of life, games, science, music, philosophy, and creativity through interviews with leading creatives. All are welcome in this space.
I am absolutely, I'm going to use I'm going to use multiple words here. Enthralled, fascinated, just excited about all the people that we have been meeting and talking with over the past few weeks.
Yes.
The past few episodes, from our friends at Yellow Hand, and I know that we have some really cool ones coming up. That in future episodes, like a really cool one coming up very soon. But this is part one of a two-parter. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the actual interview for this one because I had some stuff I had to address here in Dice and Mind headquarters south.
Thank God the Waxers come to the home now.
Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness. All right, we're going Brazilian.
I wasn't gonna say it.
And now we have an explicit tag.
Yeah.
So
I'll be right back. Even though this is audio, I'm gonna put my eyes out. Just hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember what we said. You can't. You no more dry heave sounds because that will actually flag an explicit tag too.
That's right.
But I am just the plethora of talent and diversity of background that we have been talking with over these past episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, it really all goes back to I'm going to say it goes back to our original conversations with the man, the myth, the legend, Al Spader. Thanks to him, we've made contacts.
Al, thank you. It does. Yeah.
But you were able to conduct this first part of the interview.
Yeah, because your absence was, like you said, very unplanned and rather last minute, and so there was no way to reschedule, and I'm really glad we didn't. So one of the things you and I have pondered, I mean, for quite some time, like not recently, you and I have questioned over the years, what is the role, what's the popularity of tabletop RPGs around the world? And in and of itself, like we've had enough input, we've seen enough, we've read enough to know that there are certainly areas like pockets of the world, especially, for example, like across Europe, where these are very popular. But it's very hard for us to know. And so this episode is in part one of our attempts to address that. Now, with our guest, who is just a lovely gentleman and really, really interesting, we got a little bit into that in this interview. We spent, as is proper, we spent more of the time learning about Magnus's background, right? How he got into RPGs, how he got into RPG writing and design. I think everybody in for a treat of listening to this, and some of it sounds a common trope of just really being turned on to these games early in life and finding oneself working on them unofficially long before they got to officially write. But Magnus has such an interesting background, a really interesting background that continues to diversify. And then here and there, we got into what tabletop RPGs have been like historically in Sweden, specifically, and elsewhere. So we're just gonna ruin the surprise right now. This is the first episode of a two-parter.
Yes.
In a few, and that's important, in a few episodes from now, we're going to have the second part where we're going to focus more specifically on the international similarities and differences of TTRPGs. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am, and I say this not because I have to say it. I say it because I genuinely am. I'm sad I missed it. I am really pleased that Magnus is able to come back so that I actually get to meet with him and talk with him.
Yeah, you're really good. I
about
think you
this.
will very much like talking with him, and I think vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this to the second half, and I think everyone's going to find this first part absolutely fascinating.
Magnus Seter is an award-winning educational writer and game designer, and a founder of the Yellow Hand Creative Collective. He is a well-known figure in the Swedish RPG industry, both as an avid gamer and as an accomplished creator. Magnus started playing role-playing games in 1982 with the very first version of Drakar och Demoner. Because of this, he began tapping away at the family typewriter, writing extra rules and adventures for his own gaming group, and shamelessly copying the style of the trailblazers of the day. Immersing himself in the hobby, Magnus soon discovered other RPGs such as Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and Cyberpunk. Well, Magnus, thank you so much for being here. As I said, Brad may or may not be surprising us during this chat, but we're going to get underway. So,
Yep.
um, we've been really looking forward to talking to you. We've talked with one of your colleagues recently at the Yellow Hand, and we know fairly well, certainly one of the guys, a couple of the other guys who are affiliated, Al and Aaron.
Mm.
I've even like sat down and eaten with Al before. He's just a lovely guy. But Jay had recommended you specifically to chat with us for a few reasons. One, he just spoke highly of you. Two, obviously, your deep roots going back to the beginning of Yellowhand. But it was something we had mentioned in passing that I guess he picked up on and then circled around to us in the days after. Brad and I have been fascinated almost since the start of this podcast with what tabletop role playing and other games look like, what the communities look like around the world. And I know with great lack of effect in those several years whenever I've been traveling abroad, like I keep my eyes out, I look for local shops, that type of thing, but it's always with my family, it's always very limited time available, and so you can't do much. I couldn't do much in those cases, but you have quite the insights of what's been going on in Sweden, of what's been going on in Europe, far better than we do. Um, but maybe we could just start at the beginning and I could just ask you, like, what is your background with RPGs? How did you get into all of this in the first place?
Well, it's a long story, but
All right.
we'll delve into it basically.
Yeah.
Now, it's I've been playing role-playing games since 1992,
Hmm.
and I'm the um, not the first generation Swedish role-playing gamer, but sort of like the second
Yeah.
generation Swedish role-playing gamer. The Swedish role-playing scene started really in 1982
Mhm.
when the pardon me, when the game that is now known as Dragonbane was released in its first edition. It's called Drakar and Demoner, not and Demoner, Drakar och Demoner, which translates into Dragons and Demons.
Uh-huh.
But when Free League wanted to do an English version of the game now, they went for Dragonbane, which I
Yeah.
think is a good thing to
Yeah.
avoid. We don't want to poke the bear, basically.
Right.
So I started with that in 1982, and that proved to be a hobby that I got totally caught up in.
Indeed.
It was such a creative thing to be able to create worlds and to set the rules for those worlds.
Yeah.
I was 13 at the time, so now I'm 57.
Yeah.
But I was 13 at the time, and as a teenager, you didn't know much about the world, and everything.
Mhm.
You didn't have much say in what was going on. But in
Right.
role-playing games, I got to have the say of what was going on.
Yeah.
And me and some of my friends really got into to playing the games, and we tried we played the Dragonbane game for a couple of years, and then my dad came home from he was traveling um, scientist in the steel business, and he came
Oh
home
yeah.
from America, I think it was,
Yeah.
and he had. I can't remember if I asked him to do this or if he did it by himself. He had bought the red box
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons basic
Nice.
set and the blue box expert set, the Mensa rules, and that was at a breaking point for the what's that? Not breaking point, inflection point
Yeah.
for the Swedish Dragonbane, because at that time it didn't have an established campaign world. So
Hmm.
when I got the red box with the Mystara, the basic Mystara things in the expert box, I mean, that was opened it up for me as well. Instead of just going into the dungeons and adventuring, you could also go out into the wilderness. You
Right.
could go into you could travel to Isle of Dread. Was the first expert, I think. And now you can hear my dogs. So
But
I'm
all
gonna
right.
have to go. I'm gonna go have to tell them off. Hang on a
That's all
sec.
right.
Anyhow, so when I got those, I discovered that the role-playing games were not only Dragonbane.
Yeah.
There were other role-playing games as well, and I started looking out for English language role-playing games, and I found, strangely enough, I found in a corner shop in my little town in Sweden, I found a magazine called White Dwarf.
Okay.
That was Games Workshop's in-house magazine.
Neat.
At that time, it was focused mainly on role-playing games and the role-playing games that the Games Workshop licensed and
Hmm.
published. For example, Call of Cthulhu and other games, RuneQuest, for example. And I that broadened my horizons, so I got into lots
Yeah.
and lots and lots and lots of other games. So it was almost as if I wanted to play as many different games as possible.
Neat.
And at the time, I also, since I love the creative part of the of the hobby, I wrote a lot of different extra rules for myself and my
Mhm.
friends, and created adventures, and so I was like the game master most of the time.
Yeah.
So we played a lot of D&D. We played
Hmm.
AD&D, and then we quickly also started playing Call of Cthulhu, which was a
Okay.
game that really appealed to me and to
Mm.
the Swedish gaming scene as well. We'll probably get into
Interesting.
that a bit later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was sort of like my mainstay until I got into Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay,
Hmm.
which is a mix between AD&D and D and Call of Cthulhu, sort of. And then I got into Cyberpunk,
Oh,
the games.
interesting. Okay.
So me and some friends, we went around conventions and ran Cyberpunk tournaments, and that was really, really popular. Uh, 89, 90 sort of thing,
Sure.
like that. So I had a lot of material prepared for a cyberpunk genre game. And up until then, I had been sort of like just a player, of course, a very active player with
Yeah.
having a gaming club, running a gaming club with some friends, and doing stuff at conventions and stuff like that. So I was a bit more active than the more common garden
Hmm.
variety of
Hmm.
gamer, but still just a gamer,
Hmm.
and not derogatory, just a gamer. But
Yeah.
I had played it, but then I figured that all this convention material that I had, I could do something with it. So in '89, I think I sent it to R. Telsorian Games and said, "Well, here's my stuff. Can you do anything with it? Do you want to do anything with it?" And
Right.
they replied and said, "Yeah, sure.
And how
We'll."
old were you?
Yeah,
How old were
I
you?
was 19, I think, 18,
Wow.
19, something like
Young.
that.
Hmm.
So and they said, yes, we'll take a look at this. And then they came back and said, well, a couple of these rules were quite cool, so we'll include them in Cyberpunk 2020 edition.
Oh,
So you
cool.
can be a playtester for Cyberpunk 2020,
Hmm.
and you can, if you want to, if I want to, you can write a couple of scenarios because we're doing a European source book. So I got
Oh,
to write two scenarios for their uh, book called the Eurotour, which is
cool.
which is a book I can't remember. I know that Mark Galeotti was the editor for that book,
Hmm.
and he is now one of the most renowned Russia experts in the world.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, he's really good. It's tremendously nice person as well. So I had him as an editor, and I contributed to scenarios.
Hmm.
And after that, I started writing for the Swedish games because at that time there were a handful of Swedish games that I could work on. But I got started writing in English
Yeah.
for Cyberpunk 2020, basically. And
Yes.
I told you it was a long story.
No, this is fascinating.
And after that, I sort of did some freelance work for writing for the different Dragonbane version
Hmm.
and the Swedish Cyberpunk
Right.
ripoff called Mutant. And I did that for a couple of years and spent some time in England working at a paper mill. And then when I came home, I got asked if I wanted to work on a little game called Mutant Chronicles,
Okay.
which is the role-playing game for the Mutant Chronicles
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
sci-fi, science fantasy world.
Right.
Basically a rip-off of 40K, but there weren't any 40K role-playing games at that time. So I thought, oh, well, we'll make something.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I co-wrote the Mutant Chronicles game, and
Wow.
that was quite a big thing.
Yeah.
And I sort of like drifted away from the hobby for a while, stayed in touch a little bit,
Hmm.
but still, I knew a lot of people in within the hobby since I'd been involved in conventions.
Right.
I've worked for the major publisher and
Hmm.
done some freelance for minor publishers. So I knew a lot of people, and then in 2000s, I got back on the bandwagon writing stuff again, working with a company called Riot Minds with their Trudvang Chronicle, no, not Chronicles at that time, Trudvang, the
Okay.
Dragonbane Trudvang game that they
Okay.
created in 2000s. And I started getting into it again, and I
Hmm.
started hanging around on a RPG forum in Sweden,
Hmm.
which sort of has been going on since 1999, and which I'm now the administrator of.
Okay.
And that's also another sort of like a way of keeping contact with other role-playing gamers.
Mhm.
And it turns out that I learned a lot about that, and I got to know a lot of people in the hobby. So I got to learn a lot about the hobby as well, and I sort of realized that it was sort of like since I'd been around since the 1982, I sort of like I was a bridge to the old times, but I was still not too old to be like a old fussbeard sitting in the corner.
Right.
I'm that now. Now I'm that. But at the time, I didn't.
Speak for yourself. We're both too young
Yeah,
to be the old guy
yeah,
with the beard in the corner, regardless of how our beards look.
yeah, exactly. It's quite white now,
Yeah.
Santa white. No, but and this is a roundabout way of getting to a salient point here
Yeah.
is that I was then commissioned to write a book called Outside the Box,
Okay.
the book about how Sweden conquered the role-playing hobby.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's about 226 pages thick book um, for the American market,
Yeah.
describing how Swedish games came about,
Yep.
who were involved in the hobby at the time, how it evolved, who became involved.
Yep.
Very publisher focused, I must say. Of course, there is some hobby
Yeah.
stuff as well, but
That
still
makes
very
sense.
publisher focused. Not product focused, but publisher focused. And I wrote that and tried to cover 1982, well, not 1977, because
Yeah.
that was when role-playing games really came to Sweden,
Hmm.
up until 2023.
Oh,
Was it
wow.
3 years ago? 2024, maybe. I can't remember. Time
Yeah.
flies.
Yep.
And that book, I got to access a lot of materials and I
Mhm.
got to talk to a lot of people. And I also got to sit down and think about, okay, what will be my message to the world about the Swedish role-playing community?
Right.
And I think that's maybe why Jay thought, well, Magnus can probably have something to say about this.
I mean, normally when people say, "Well, he wrote the book on this," they're using a cliche.
Yeah.
So when was the book published?
I can't remember exactly.
I mean, it couldn't have been that long ago,
Oh,
huh?
no, hang on. I have it here.
Yeah.
To the listener, I am now showing the cover of the book,
Oh, that's cool.
and it's
Okay.
a cover by Johan Egerkrans, who is the illustrator for Dragonbane, the
Oh,
Swedish game. And I'm now looking into the publishing date.
here we go.
It
Ha, I found
was
it.
first edition 2024.
So very recent.
Yes, so it's very recent. So
So,
if anyone wants to learn
yeah.
about the Swedish role-playing hobby and how it came to be,
Yeah.
that book is a good uh, introduction basically, and
Love that.
it is based on three books that goes into a lot more detail with products and stuff like that, but they are only published in Swedish. So this is a book
Ah,
specifically written
okay.
for the American market,
Right.
and also it's like we wanted to. I maybe a bit brazen here, but I wanted to show American gamers that Dungeons and Dragons is
Yeah,
not the be all end all everything
absolutely.
role-playing game in the world.
That's right.
It is biggest, it's the largest, it's huge in the
Mm.
States.
Yep.
And of course, it's big in the rest of the world as well. But in Sweden, Dungeons and Dragons were never the dominant game.
Interesting.
That was Dragonbane,
Okay.
which was a Magic World derived role-playing game. So it was licensed from Chaosium
Mm.
and published in Swedish. And
Okay.
then it sort of was a separate branch of evolution
Yeah.
and turned into its more of its own game. And now it's a lot more of its own game. It's not basic role playing. Well, it's basic role playing based, but it's not
Yeah.
basic role
Okay.
playing anymore.
When
Uh,
you were
yeah.
when you were
Mhm.
researching the book,
Yep.
was there anything that surprised you?
I think I must say that what surprised me was yeah, one thing that sort of surprised me was that in Sweden, and I don't know the mythology of American role-playing games, but in Sweden we had the ex sort of the seed was sown in 1982.
Hmm.
5,000 copies of the game was
Okay.
printed, but they didn't sell it much, so they pulped a lot of them, which we are not happy about now because we would have wanted them now.
Hmm.
But it was a sort of like it's not a very good role-playing game, the first edition of Dragonbane. But then when the second edition came and they cleaned up the rules and put the Stormbringer Elric cover on the box, uh, it exploded. And most at 1985, 1986, 1987, you could say that almost every teenager in Sweden knew what a role-playing game was. And that
Really?
was Dragonbane. Not
Really?
Dungeons and Dragons, but
Yeah.
Dragonbane. And most boys had played it. It was
Yep, right.
at the time, it still is a dominant, masculine dominated, a male dominated
Absolutely.
hobby, but at the
Yeah,
time it was even more so.
absolutely.
Not to say that there weren't women playing.
Yeah.
One of our most celebrated game designers started really, really early writing the games. So but it was a
Yeah.
male orientated game. But they say that almost 100,000, couple of 100,000 copies of the game was sold in Sweden during
Wow.
the late 80s,
I
and
mean,
that was huge.
yeah, I mean, for the population, I mean, that means that like no kid was more than maybe 1 degree of freedom away from having access, right? If you didn't
Exactly.
have it, you had a friend for sure who had it.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, there's nothing like that here. There never has been.
No.
That's
And
remarkable.
and that was the explosion, and then came the sort of like normalization, and then came the down downward spiral, where role-playing games we had a saying in Sweden or a name for it. We call it the death of role-playing games, and that was the
Interesting.
late 1990s. And what surprised me, because that was yeah something that surprised me that you asked that. What surprised me when I put the book together was that the doom and gloom
Yeah.
year we thought it was years,
Yeah.
but it turns out that well maybe a year or two, maybe role-playing games weren't that popular, but
Hmm.
it was still kind of popular. So what surprised me was that the death of role-playing games wasn't really the death of role-playing games in Sweden. It was just a little downturn before the
Interesting.
next generation
Okay.
took the reins and sort of like, well, we want to do this, and then they started doing it because the old hands like me and
Hmm.
the other people who had started the role-playing game craze in Sweden, when they
Yeah.
took over, uh, they had worked in the late 90s, that they had worked for almost 20 15 20 years with the game, and they were
Hmm.
so like tired, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't as successful as it was earlier. But the young people then took the reins and sort of like, no, let's do this our way, and they did it their way during the 2000s. And then when Kickstarter came around, it really
Yeah.
turn everything around for the
Hmm.
Swedish publishers, because suddenly there was a way of publishing games that didn't require you to put up money to print 5,000 copies of a game
Right.
or 1,000 copies and hope to get them sold or put into distribution. You
Hmm.
could just, not just, but you could say,
Yeah.
how this is the game we want to make. How many of you want to support us?
Yeah.
And that's the free league success formula.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge game changer. Nowadays, it's more often that I speak to people in the hobby that publish their own games through Kickstarter, and they moan about the postal service because it's horrible. It's horrible, and they always say that don't do a Kickstarter. The freight things, shipping things to the world, it's
Yeah.
such a hassle. It's such a
Yeah.
hassle.
Can be pricey.
It can be pricey, and
Mhm.
people forget to put in the names and everything. So, but still, Kickstarter has been an injection for a lot
Yeah.
of minor game publishers here in Sweden,
Mhm.
such as Stockholm Cartel doing the Mörkborg and Cyborg
Oh,
games, for
yeah.
example.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
that was one thing that surprised me, was that what we thought was a real downturn and the
Yeah.
death of our hobby, and
Yeah.
in hindsight, it was more like a little dip. Of course, we felt as if everything was, oh, this is falling down, but it picked up again. Of
S-
course, that coincided with the release of Dungeons and Dragons 3, so that put some energy into the
Yeah.
overall belief that role-playing games could be viable as well.
So let me ask you an unfair question.
Sure.
Because you, I mean, you obviously, you are a master of this history, right? You arguably know this history. Well, certainly in Sweden as well as anyone, probably better than almost anyone else. Looking back to look forward,
Mhm.
do you have any guesses of where role-playing games, of what the industry or the market's going to look like, whether it's Sweden or Europe more broadly? What do you think might be coming just in the next few years? What's it going to look like?
It's an
It's not fair.
recur re no, it's not fair, but it's very interesting, because it's a discussion I have almost any time I go out, or at least 3 or 4 times a year. I sit
Yeah.
down with people,
Yeah.
small publishers, big publishers, and
Right.
everything, and we sit down and have a beer or something like that, and then we sit down and say, okay, so what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And it's one thing that I want to say is that I would never have predicted what happened.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
if someone had asked me in 1999, 2000s, what's going to happen with role-playing games, I would have said, well, someone's going to pick up the Dragon. I tried to pick up the Dragonbane license, actually, but I was snubbed uh, by someone else. So someone's going to pick up the Dragonbane license and produce it in a small set, and publish it as a hobby, and that'll be it, like that. And now we have Free League, which is one of the largest third tier publishers in the world. And we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
Helmgast publishing Cult, and we have Riot Minds who did the Trudvang Chronicles and the Lexocultum games, and who were really, really popular. And we have Helmgast also does a game called the Troubleshooters, which is a
Mhm.
comic Franco-Belgo comic
Huh,
role-playing game, which is very popular in France, for example.
sure.
And I would never have predicted this surge of creativity, this surge
Yeah.
of uh, output of hugely well-designed
Mhm.
games coming from Sweden. And they are not only well-designed, they're also well produced. The art
Yeah.
is fantastic, the layout
Yep.
is fantastic, the writing is fantastic, and the formats vary a lot. We have the
Yes.
big games, we have the Kickstarter from Free League, which is there's a lot like Alien Reloaded,
Hmm.
Revised,
Hmm.
the
Something.
second edition Alien,
Yeah. Yeah, I
basically.
saw that.
Which was like I really wanted it, but it's like I don't have any room. I don't have any room in my house anymore because it was like a lot of books, a lot of miniatures, and a lot of stuff for cards and stuff like that. And and we have that, and we have games like Blood Feud, for example, which is a
Yeah.
small booklet about
Yeah.
honor system
Oh,
within Viking
interesting.
culture, which is
Yeah.
more of a free form indie game. So we have
Oh,
everything. We go from the extremes, and it's a bit presumptuous of me to say that, well, I know what's going to happen, but
yeah.
I don't have any problem predicting things because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah, right.
That's the good thing. That's a good
Beautiful.
thing.
Hmm.
So what I think will happen is that we will sort of establish. We have had a surge of developers over the last years,
Hmm.
not only in Sweden but
Hmm.
also in America, and I think
Hmm.
that they will sort of will want to stay established. They want to
Hmm. Hmm.
stay so that they want to sort of like what's consolidate their
Yeah,
presence
right.
in their arena. So I don't think that we will get as many breakout games as we've
Right.
had the
Right.
last 10 years.
Hmm.
I think it's difficult for a new Mörkborg or for a new Shadow Dark or for a new sort of like, wow, this is something that will
Yeah.
really, really, really break through. But the publishers that are now publishing top tier games, not top tier as in amount of sales, but
Right.
top
Right.
quality game,
Right.
top quality games. For
Yeah,
example,
I'm with you.
Limitron, they do a Pirate Borg, which is tremendously well produced, and
Yeah.
have a presence
Hmm.
and are really active promoting that game. And they will want to consolidate and say that this is what we have,
Yeah, makes sense.
and this is what we want to produce.
Hmm.
And I don't think we will see a surge of new games like we did with the OSR, with the
Hmm.
indie and the OSR, and powered by the Apocalypse games as well. I think we'll sort of like have a little more putter on,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
and maybe someplace, somewhere, a new game will show up that everyone will want to play.
Yep.
But it'll be a lot more games
Mm.
offered that are of smaller formats,
Yep.
which will complement the big games like
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
Pathfinder, games
Exactly.
like that.
Hmm.
But I still think that the hobby and the publishing industry as well will still have the possibility to be an outlet for creativity that wasn't available when I started. Because when I
Right.
started, I sent in typewritten manuscripts to to the publishers, and I got it back in the mail with red scribbles on it.
Oh
Well,
man.
do this and this, and I write tick
Yeah.
tick 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 tick, and if I wanted something published, I had to go through a publisher. I couldn't publish it myself. Well,
Yeah.
basically because I was 17, 18 years old.
Right.
But still, I didn't have a publishing house. I couldn't
No,
afford a printer or anything.
that's right.
Now anyone can publish.
Yep.
And you asked me earlier if I was really surprised about something, and I don't think I was surprised by it, but it really sort of, I really got it hammered into me that the creative um, the creativity of the role-playing hobby and the skill in the
Yeah.
role-playing hobby
Yeah.
today is so much higher and so much
Yeah.
more refined than when
Hmm.
I started.
Absolutely.
If I had come around now with the things that I wrote when I was 17, 18 years old, I wouldn't get published
Right.
because it's good stuff. It's but it's fairly bland.
Hmm.
And basically what it was when I started, I wrote well-designed stuff,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
creative stuff, but it was
Right.
well structured and it was
Right.
easy to play and easy to pick up and it was kind of
Yeah.
fun. But today you have to sit down, not you don't have to sit down, but you sit down and you say, okay, so what's out there on the market that's creative
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
far out? And it's like, oh, Mörkborg. I would never, I didn't, I when I saw Mörkborg the first time, I was like, is this legal? Are you allowed to do this? Is this something can you get away with this? And it turned out to be immensely popular and sort of like really took that energy of the self-publishing
Yes.
part of the hobby and channeled that into into this little game and a lot because they found that the format basically anyone could produce and they encourage everyone to produce
Yeah.
and the format was you don't need to the big book is here but
Yep.
then they wanted people to put out 1 pages 2 pages
Yeah.
booklet leaflets stuff like that and whenever I visit them at conventions I always marvel at all the different things they take in from their fans and sell at their booth because
Well.
there's so much creativity on display.
Mhm.
And hopefully what we will see is hopefully, but uh, well, if it's a wife coming home. No, but what I think will happen is that oh, hang on,
Yep.
coming home. So what I'm thinking about the future is that of course we will have Dungeons and Dragons, we'll have Pathfinder, we'll have the big chunks
Yeah.
of the sort of like the mainstream hobby, but we will also have a very flourishing small publishing
Yeah.
part where
Good.
everyone
Hmm.
can sort of like contribute,
Hmm.
which is cool, of course, but
Hmm.
it's also it's also very difficult to break through.
Right.
It was a lot easier when I was young and started because well, there weren't that many who could write games material. But now so many can do it, and there is so much on offer that it will be more difficult to break through. So for publishers, it will be more and more important to work with the community, to build a name within the community, and engage with the community, and engage with players.
Yes. Yes. So let me ask you okay,
Yep.
so this is I'm going to pivot a bit here. Um and I wish we had so much more time, but we definitely have to have you back. I know Brad's going to definitely want to talk to you too. But he always asks a question, and it's a good one. And so I need to make sure to ask this. What what if anything are you playing these days for fun?
I have a bi-weekly group and then an occasional game. So we play in my occasional games we play Dungeons and Dragons 4.
Okay.
We really like
Interesting.
the miniature aspect of that,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun. Dungeons and Dragons 4 was sort of like it sort of split our groups. The
Right.
group I was in into two. It's like sort of like that. Then people discovered, okay, what is fun with role playing games? Is it the tactical miniature
Right.
wargaming part, or is it the role playing part?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we split up into role playing and more wargaming material there. But
Hmm.
we play Dungeons and Dragons 4 or we play Frostgrave. I have a friend who puts up rather elaborate scenarios and terrains,
Oh,
which is a lot of fun.
oh, that's
But
excellent.
then the bi-weekly game, we we did play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons at first, and then I game mastered Forbidden Lands for about 3 or 4 years, and I've written for Forbidden Lands as well. So
Yeah.
so I wanted to learn the system, and
Hmm.
so we kept up with that for 42 sessions or something like that.
Wow.
And then after that, we
Wow.
sort of figured that, okay, we don't want let Magnus game master 40 more sessions of anything because it can become a bit much.
You're right.
So we sort of said that, okay, we want to do 8 to 10 session short campaigns,
Nice.
and we switch games every after every time.
Oh.
And after that, we've sort of, which is kind of funny because we've sort of we've played Alien, Blade Runner, Väsen, Dragonbane, of
Oh
course,
man.
and a lot of now we are doing the Tales from the Flood. Uh, so it's a lot of free league games, which
Yeah, nothing
is
wrong with that.
no, it's nothing wrong with that. I work for them, and one of the others also work for them, and we are another the person in the group is the creator of Cyborg, and they are involved in Stockholm Cartel. So
Wow.
it's sort of like it's sort of we gravitate around free league games and
Yeah,
the
makes
free league
sense.
games that they publish, but we try to break out. So we did actually play Mausritter, the game before this, and then we played a mashup of Traveler and Cyborg. And but the thing
Oh,
is that we want
interesting.
to play shorter campaigns
Yeah.
with different games, and we try to now choose games which have very clear themes.
Okay. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
okay, we did play old school essentials for a while. We played Pharaoh, the old classic I think it's I4
Okay.
adventure, AD&D adventure.
Hmm.
We played that with the OC, Old School Essentials rules, just to try it out. And but it's such a little bit more focused. It's not
Yeah.
like, okay, let's pick up Dungeons and Dragons and play that for a couple of years. It's like, okay, let's pick up this game and play it for a couple of sessions or 4 or 5 sessions, and then we'll try something else. And that's also because it's
That's
it's
neat.
it's quite an anomaly in my group is that out of 6 players, we have 5 game masters,
Right.
which is quite, I sort of think that that's quite unusual.
I
I
think
think,
that's quite unusual.
yeah, I think mostly it's like a forever GM, and
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
that GM can play or wants to play is what's played. While we have 5 game masters just clamoring to play something to arrange a game or so. No, yo, I want to try
Yeah.
this. I want to try this. I want to
Yeah.
try this and this. And we are very accommodating there. It's like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, you want to do this. Okay,
That's excellent.
everyone okay with that? Yes, yes, sure, sure, sure. Because we know it's only 8 to 10
Right.
sessions,
Right.
and not a big thing. If also we are friends since a long time, since about 20 years back,
Nice.
and it's if something doesn't work, we'll just, well, this didn't really work. We'll try something else.
Yeah.
So very laid back, but
Sounds
it's
wonderful.
a lot of games. We try to try as
Yeah.
many games as we can, basically.
I think that's excellent. I mean, there are so many games that I would like to try. There are so many games that Brad and I will regularly talk about, like offline, that interest us, but the learning curve to learn that system, say, and only play, for example, a few sessions. That's that's a lot. Or alternatively, I'd like to try this game. I'm not sure I want to commit to it for the next year. That's its own thing. I think it sounds like you've all found that sweet spot, and you all play well together. You share well.
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
responsibility.
Absolutely. And I get what you're saying because the first time when I spoke to Free League and they said, well, we would like you to write this expansion module for Forbidden Lands.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, sure, I want to do
Yeah.
that. And okay, here's the game. And I'm like, oh God, I have to learn a new game. So I listened to a lot so actual play podcasts to sort of figure out the game.
Yes.
But after you learn that game, Forbidden Lands, or any other of their games, it's easier to learn.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fair.
there are other games, which is maybe why we sort of like picked off all the Free League games because it's very easy for us to pick them up.
Hmm.
If we wanted to do something really different, I think it would be a little bit more difficult. But still, there are 5 game masters and around, I think there are 4 or 5 published game writers in our group as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
so pe people we know how to learn systems, how to teach ourselves.
for that sixth mere player friend. It must be a pretty high intensity endeavor.
Yeah, well, it's we play at this couple, and they've been together since they were 15, and they're about 40 now.
Oh,
So
wow.
she's been around playing, and she's
That's
totally
lovely.
content with being a player.
Yeah, right.
And it's a sort of like circumstance that's sort of like put the group
Just
together with
just came with the
5 games.
marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I-
yeah, sort of. Yeah, but they've also played since they were 15 together.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool. And one of the other players is my old friend, and we've known each other since we were 15. So that makes it like over 40 years now that we've played role playing games together. And I think that's a cool
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, Brad and I have known we've been good friends since since college, so for 30 plus years.
Ah, yeah, that's
We've
cool.
been playing and whatnot for I don't know, less than 10, but between my wife, his ex-wife, absolutely no interest. This is very much
Ah,
our
okay.
thing.
No,
So I
yeah,
think that's just absolutely lovely.
yeah,
I
it
just
is.
think
It
that's
is.
so cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, mhm.
I have to end it. I hate that. It's my schedule. I've got to stop so I can meet with a
That's okay.
student. But
I
thank
think we'll
you.
do. I think we'll do it like this: is that we
Yeah,
see this as the first section, and then
wonderful.
we'll shorten because basically what Jay asked me, well, told me was that you wanted to ask a bit about the differences between
Yeah, we
Scandinavian, Swedish role-playing games and American games as well. And now we've sort of like been talking about myself and
well, that's what we want. That's what we wanted to start. So no, thank
yeah, exactly.
we there will be a part two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Magnus, thanks for joining us for part one. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend, but I look forward to um, chatting with you in part two
Yep, before long.
before long. And just the idea of I'm fascinated because of Free League Publishing,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just that as them as a company. I have a number of their products. I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the One Ring. I have a couple of different ones. Um, the idea of European gaming, but specifically the stuff that's coming out of Northern Europe,
yeah. Isn't that
Scandinavia, I think is
interesting?
just fascinating.
Yeah,
So being able to talk to folks, who have lived it and who are part of it is just, I mean, cats me off for me because it's just an
yeah,
interesting topic, and I don't think here in the States, maybe other people are talking about it. I don't know if there's a lot of talk done about it, but I think the DNA of those games permeating our games here, I think has done nothing but positive
oh, without
for
question.
you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
um, as we head over to Loon Cafe,
Yes.
um, I'll let you go first because I'm going to toss just a little
Yeah, that's what you
curveball at
said.
you. Yeah.
So I'll keep mine brief. So I just been, I mean, everyone who listens to Dice and Mind knows I've been taken with the Pioneer role-playing game. Um, if quite taken with the Pioneer role-playing game. Um, he's even by Mongoose long before it was even like announced via Kickstarter, right? That we
Yeah.
could actually get into it. Um, and the irony is just the other day. So as we record, not as this drops, but as we record the rest of this episode, I just started today a couple weeks of break between spring and summer sessions, terms, and I thought,
I
okay,
can't believe we're that far along. I
I
know.
mean,
It
it's
blows my
still May,
mind.
but I know. And so I thought I'm just gonna print out a little bit from the Pioneer Core rulebook, the draft, so that I can start to just have some fun thinking about the future and also like learn the mechanics a bit. before the core rulebook print is sent to all of us Kickstarters, hopefully in August as scheduled. And then this morning as we record now, we
Hmm.
all received a Kickstarter update indicating that there had been a number of updates based on feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're pretty cool. So, just kind of in the back of my mind, and literally on my desk right now, I've got a bit of Pioneer. What do you have on your mind?
So we talked a little bit about this. We talked very briefly about this before we hit record. Um, and I bring it up because you know, and I know, well, end of March, literally the last day of March, um, I traded in my car and I bought an SUV,
Yes.
for multiple reasons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I received this week, people won't be able to see it, but I
Yeah.
received, and we were talking about this
So,
before
what did you name your SUV?
that, and so I wanted, because
Hmm.
that's what I wanted to discuss, because we haven't talked about it on the show, and
No.
since it's a nerdcast, I mean
Oh,
podcast nerdcast,
let's do it. We're here. Let's do
yeah,
it.
um, you know, we have for years named our cars
Yeah.
in derivatives, or their the cars' names, air quote, are connected to Star Trek in some way. Um,
I have to think. This might actually have been my first.
I know that I had
You had.
we had named I can't remember what the terrain, my black SUV, the one that my daughter drives
I
now.
don't remember.
But it wasn't a Starship. It was
Yeah.
your car is the Runabout.
My car is the runabout. Yeah.
I had a car.
Yeah.
I had a sedan
Yeah.
that was the Delta Flyer.
Yes, which is
Um,
funny because your car was bigger than my car.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Um, just not that much,
No,
but
but you named your car and drove your car the way my car was built to be named and driven.
yeah, exactly. Yes, pretty
We'll
much.
just
Yes.
leave it at that.
Well, no, we'll just say
Yeah,
it. Your
yeah,
car,
yeah.
you have a nice car and it has a turbo in it.
Yes, it
And
does.
I'll be honest with you, I
So
think you should have
funny.
named yours the Defiant, because
No, I like the runabout.
I know it fits it. It
It
fits
fits
it, but
it.
I
It
still
fits it.
think
It fits me. Yeah.
I still think, but
So then you
so
got your SUV, right? You say have another Mazda, and you got
I
your
had a Mazda
SUV,
6
and
sedan,
yeah, and she's beautiful.
and I loved my six, but
Yeah.
um with everything that I had going on, I needed a bigger vehicle.
And I've got a
Um
three.
yeah,
So there we are.
and
Yeah.
so I picked up a Mazda, or I traded in my six and
Yeah.
got a Mazda CX-90, the
Yeah.
big SUV that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so one of the first things when I called you, leaving the parking lot, driving
Yeah.
off with that vehicle,
Yeah.
was,
You're
what are
like,
you going to name it?
well, you were like, she needs a name. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And so we went back and forth. It's big enough that I remember having this discussion, you and I, years ago. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not all that long ago, but
Yeah.
because we both got our sedans around the same
Yeah.
time, within a month or
Within
two
like
of
a
each
month.
other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The cars were too small for us to justify using Starship names.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Absolutely.
my big monstrosity of a boat now,
Well, okay,
for
hold on.
me,
For a Mazda, it's huge. Compared to an American SUV, it's quite reasonable.
actually, I think I park it next to your wife's
Is
SUV,
it that much bigger?
I think you'll find that you'll
Okay.
probably be like, okay, this is a monstrosity.
So
And
then
don't
my
get me wrong, I
no,
love
no.
it.
So then my suggestion works. Like it holds.
Yes.
Ah,
So
good.
we were talking in the car about different
Yes.
names, and
Yes.
obviously, I remember us talking about this. We would never name it the Enterprise. We would
Nope.
never name
Nope.
our vehicles that. We couldn't do
Nope.
that.
Couldn't do that.
Um, but you're the one that brought up
Yeah, I'm
the
flattered that you
idea
took it. Yeah.
of naming the 90 the Stargazer.
Yes, because she's fast, but she's powerful. She's not a flagship. She's a long hauler.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
like you said, it's not a truck, it's an
No, no.
SUV.
Yep.
It's not it's
Well,
got a
she's
V6
she's
that's
elegant. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a V6 and a turbo in it, so
Yeah, it's
she can
ridiculous.
haul. And I literally 2 weeks after buying it, drove it to Florida.
Hmm.
And that's what I drove to Florida for our episodes when I was at Dyson Mine headquarters south.
Yep.
South, not just Milwaukee South, Florida South.
Mhm.
Um so decided on the Stargazer. So ultimately I found on Etsy um decals. So in the back window are the NCC numbers for the Stargazer.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Yeah, so anyone who's a Star Trek fan will probably walk by and go, "Why did he?" And they'll look it up and they'll be like, "Why does he have the Stargazers in,
Yeah.
um, numbers in his
Yeah.
window?" And then I got
Yeah, you sent me
apparently,
a text out of the blue, and it took me a moment, and
and
I'm like, oh.
it's obviously older. It's been yellowed, and to your point, I'm going to put it in the ultrasonic cleaner and see if it actually like cleans
Oh,
it up a little bit.
interesting. Interesting.
Um, it's older, but their micro machines made a Stargazer, the original, the Picard,
Yeah, isn't that
the
cool?
it's NCC is a 2693. Um, the original Stargazer micro
Mm,
machine, and um, so I'm going to set that up because that will hang from the rear view mirror.
nice.
Um, but tonight, there's been a lot going on, so I haven't had a lot of time. Right,
Mm,
time for me to sit down and read has been sparse these days.
yeah.
Um, but I was out today using like a ceramic wax and all that, just doing like I wanted to put like what is it called? Yeah, it's a ceramic wax
Yeah.
on the vehicle because I didn't buy any of that after stuff crap you get my language that you
Yeah,
get at a
no, no,
dealer or
no.
anything.
Yeah.
I would do it myself. But when I was cleaning and I was like wiping down the trunk area,
Yeah.
I saw the
Yeah.
call sign numbers. Um, it's not big. It's not. You'd have to like walk. You have to
Nor
be
nor
like.
should
You
it
either
be.
have to be
Right.
tailgating me,
Right.
or you have to walk
Yeah.
close to the car to
Yeah.
see it. But um, I still think we need to get like runabout.
We're gonna get the cars together.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we got to get pictures. We've got
We.
we've
Oh
got
yeah.
pictures of the 6 and the 3
Agre-
together. We need to get pictures of
Agreed.
the 90
Agreed.
and the 3 together
Well,
because they both now have horsepower and they both could fly apart at the seams.
oh,
Your
fly her
car,
apart then.
I've been yeah, that's such a good line in that movie.
It is.
It's such a good
It's
line when
such a good
Sulu
line.
says that.
Yes.
Um, I will say, and this is crude even for this show. Um, when you punched it one time going onto the interstate, your little car with that turbo,
Yeah, I think you
I
went plaid.
yeah, well, to quote Chris Pratt, aka Star-Lord from um
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, a little P came
There
out.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
It literally, I mean, that car has punch.
And I never
Um,
do that. I mean, I truly never do
you
that,
not
but
you're very good with it, and I know for a fact that there are certain individuals who shall remain nameless, your brother, that are
right.
really prohibited from driving your vehicle because of their propensity to test the bounds of
Oh
the
man.
accelerator.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, it is. There
but
is some
you,
truth there.
but I will have you drive the Stargazer because I'll be curious because you've driven multiple vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, Amy, right, my wife, she's had two iterations of the CX-9, and
Yeah,
we've been really happy with both of them.
yeah,
Yeah. So I am very
and
curious to see yours and see how I've only seen them like on the floor or on the lot. I'll be very curious because like you have all the tech, the updated tech that I have. You have the new interior. It's just beautiful.
I actually splurged a bit and I got it was
You got
the
the
one
same
on the lot.
package I have, and
Yeah,
that's rather
yeah,
more in a CX-90 than a 3.
yeah. And
Yeah. But that's all
I,
right.
I I ended up with more stuff in the vehicle than I needed, and literally that night after being gone for 12 hours, you know, getting bank stuff taken care of, buying the
Yeah.
vehicle,
Yeah.
coming home, I opened my car door to get out, and I'm like, what fell out of my car?
That's
And
right.
it was and I don't even know how to explain it. It has those little lights that
Yeah, I
that
don't think it's uncommon for the bigger SUVs now, the nicer ones.
yeah. that the logo, the Mazda logo, like lights up on the ground from
Yeah,
some sort
because
of
you
little light
you
under the
called me. You're
door.
like, I opened my door and it said Mazda on the driveway.
Yeah. And I reached down because I was so spacey. I reached down
So
to try to
funny.
grab it because I thought I had like dropped something, but no, I was literally grabbing at lights. So, but today I needed to like be outside for a little bit. So um I've had this ceramic wax since I bought the vehicle. I just haven't had time to put it on there. It's a 3-in-1 spray. It was really easy to use, and I did that.
Interesting.
So not an RPG thing, a car thing. We never talk about cars.
Not enough, at least.
Not enough.
But as you said, it is it is adjacent because it's so nerdy.
Oh, the fact that we name that there's a Star Trek correlation between our Mazdas and um um well, there's a
And
correlation because we name
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
We name them connected to Star Trek, and the 90 is the first one to actually get a starship name. Otherwise,
Um,
we didn't do that because we didn't
no,
have big vehicles.
no. Which reminds me, I forgot to ask the registry number on the back window. That's for the original as well, or is that
No,
for
so
that's for
so
Rios's
this is
Stargazer, right?
that's Rios's.
That's actually the one I had in mind.
It's 82893.
There it is.
They
Thank you.
add, so what's interesting, and that's an
Mm-hmm.
interesting sidebar, and for our and for all of our folks that listen who are Trekkies,
Wait,
it'd be an interesting
don't,
debate.
don't spoil
No, no,
anything. Okay,
no.
okay,
I'm just saying in general. For all of our friends out there, we have a lot of them. I'm not going to even name names because we know we've had so many of you out there who are
yeah,
Trek fans. Um, it's not the Stargazer B. It wasn't the 2893A or the 2893B or anything. 2893 was the original, was Picard's Stargazer.
yep,
The
yep.
Stargazer in Picard season 2, that Rios's
Yep.
Stargazer is
Yeah,
82893.
yeah, because in the end of the 24th, early 25th century, a lot of them got that. Yeah, right.
Hmm. So I will have the original
Yeah,
micro machine dangling in my living
I
room.
think that's great.
But the 82893
Hmm.
registry number is the one that's on my window.
I think an
So
homage to both beautiful ships.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I curveballed it. We went
No, that's great.
completely off topic by talking about something different than RPGs, but it was Trek adjacent. So I'm
It was
going
Trek
to call it
adjacent.
fair.
It's geeky. We've we've been off topic before,
Oh, one more off topic because I got this before
and he's
I
wandering away. Oh,
left.
and he's back. What do
Before
you
I left
have?
for um I I had been watching this. I've been watching this. We watched Firefly together
Yeah, I had a feeling it was a
before my
Firefly
trip.
thing. I can't tell you why.
And I didn't get these originally years ago, but I found a mint set
Of
of
coasters. No.
Serenity, the trading cards that had come out for
Oh, look at
Serenity.
that. There it is. Okay.
Um, and they're in um,
Yeah.
packaging, and along with that, it's like movie shots, it's character shots. They're fun to
Interesting.
read. I'm actually going to leave them here because I'm going to read them.
That's
And
cool.
then along with that,
Wait, he's
um,
drifting again, people.
these
He's
were
drifting.
these were
He
these
doesn't
were like
understand how a
one of the
microphone works. He's coming back. He's back.
Yep. No, I'm using head. Oh no, I guess I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's good. You yes, you are using headphones.
Yeah. Um, so this came, so
What is that?
it is a Serenity postcard that says Brown Coats
Broncos
Unite,
Unite
Serenity in theaters,
in theaters September 30, 2005.
and then a miniature poster of Serenity,
Oh, that's
the
funny.
movie Serenity.
You know who keeps popping up in my feed? Jewel State.
She's really active on
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media,
Yeah, sorry, keep
and
going. Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, it's kind of
So,
interesting.
and we didn't talk a whole lot about the fact that there's going to be a Firefly new season
I
animated.
think because we don't
Did
know,
we?
like, no, you
Yeah,
and I have talked a bit, but not on Dice and Mind, because there's nothing's been released about it. Like, we know so little. But once we know something, I'm sure we will bring it to the
but I
fore.
will. but I will end my vocal point of the podcast by pulling out one of my favorite quotes from Serenity that is actually on the card. It's Wash,
Yeah.
and it's I'm a leaf on the wind, watch me soar.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
so right before obviously he had met
Nice.
his untimely demise,
That's right.
which I think was that was probably, other than canceling the show, one of the grave mistakes they made was killing
Yeah.
Wash off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'll leave it at that.
All right, Shiny. Thanks everybody, as always, for being with us. I think we can reveal we are scheduled with interviews for episodes straight through the end of June. And man, it's looking like a good lineup. So stay tuned, and in the interim, you know the deal. Be well, stay well. We will see you in a couple weeks.